Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Semantics and Pragmatic course. In today's session, we will discuss an important foundation in semantics, meaning and definition. We will explore what meaning is, how words carry meanings, and how definition help us understand language more clearly. As students, understanding the meaning and definition will help you analyze language accurately and teach vocabulary more effectively in real classroom context. Let's begin our learning and discover how meaning works in language with me, Sharifah Rafika. Language is the primary tools through which the human express idea, emotions, intentions, and imagination. At the heart of this ability lies semantics, the branch of linguistics devoted to the study of meaning. Understanding meaning is essential because communication depends not only on words themselves, but on how these words are defined, interpreted, and connected to the world around us. In semantics, the concept of meaning goes beyond simple dictionary definition. It involves examining how words represent concept, how sentence convey complete truth, and how speakers and listeners negotiate interpretation in different contexts. But by exploring meanings and definition, semantics help us understand how language function as a system for organizing knowledge, describing reality, and shaping human interaction. As by the end of this learning, students will be able to complete the objective below. Students will be able to define and give example of the meaning and definition, and then to able to apply and classify of the meaning and definition according to their unit, and then to analyze the unit of meaning and different ways of defining meanings. And the last one, the student will be able to evaluate the appropriateness of definition based on context and purpose. Okay, is meanings and dictionary. The text explains that the word's meaning is closely related to its definition. This idea goes back to Aristotle, who emphasized that understanding something means being able to define it clearly. In traditional concept theories of meaning, knowing a word means knowing its definition. In other words, to know the concept horse is to know the defining features that make something a horse. For example, if a horse is defined as a large, four-footed mammals with hooves and a mane, then this definition allows us to make logical conclusion. Example, logical inference from the definition of horse. If we accept the definition about, we can automatically understand that if X is a horse, X is an animal, because a horse is defined as a mammals and mammals are animals. If X, a horse, it has a man, because having a man in part is part of the definition. If X is a rooster, as X is not a horse, because a rooster is a bird, not a mammal. And then, if X is a horse, is like four-footed mammals with hooves and man, this restate the definition. So, understanding the divining feature, sorry. So, understanding meaning in these views, in this example, means understanding the defining features that allow this logical statement to be true. You can see that the conceptual theory assumes here words correspond to the concept in the mind, and the concept are structured like definition, and meaning consists of necessary characteristic. This idea is similar to compositional analysis, where meaning is broken into semantic feature. Example, componential analysis of horse. You can see in this table feature and horse. Features animals. Yes. Mammals. Features horse. Yes, of course. For like horse. Yes. Has hooves. Yes. Has met. Yes. Bird. No. The plus here means the feature is present, and when it is meant means it is absent. This explains why a horse cannot a bird. A horse must be an animal. Okay. For example, in a dictionary, horse is a noun. A large plant-eating domestic mammals with solid hooves and flowing manes and tail. This looks similar to the conceptual definition discussed earlier. However, there is an important distinction. You can see in your dictionary about the horse. Okay? The next is semantics versus lexicography. Lexicography is a dictionary writing. Lexicography is practical work focused on helping people understand word, and then the design for everyday users. It's aimed to, for example, it's aimed to provide clear explanation, include pronunciation, usage examples, synonyms, reflect how words are actually used. You can see that. For example, in your dictionary entry style for bank, bank is noun, a financial institution that hold money, and the second is the line along the side of a river. These show multiple meanings, polysemy. Lexicography care about clarity and usefulness. And then linguistic or semantics. Linguistic semantic, or it is a semantics as a theoretical discipline interested in how meaning works in the mind and language system, and then concert with abstract principle. You know that semantics asks questions like, what is meaning? What is a meaning based on definition? Is meaning determined by use? How does context influence meaning? Or are definition sufficient to explain meaning? It's the different semantics and lexicography. And then why the dictionary model is important in linguistics. Even though lexicography is practical and semantic is theoretical, linguistics often imagine language as having a mental lexicon. A lexicon is a mental dictionary stored in the brain The idea is each word has stored information, including meaning, pronunciation, grammatical category. For example, in your mental lexicon, the word horse may include category. The category is noun, features is animals, mammal, foreleg, and so on. Related word mare, stallion, pony, for example, typical context, reading, form, raising. You know that critical issues that, however, modern linguistic question whether is knowing a word the same as knowing is dictionary definition. Consider this example for gam. For example, gam dictionary definition: an activity engaged in for amusement, but is just a game. But is chess a game? Yes. Is war a game? No. Is gambling a game? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So the concept of games is difficult to define clearly. Philosophers Wittgenstein agree that many words do not have strict definition but show family resemble. So meanings may be more flexible, context dependent, not fully captured by definition. And the summary in this concept, meaning has historically been linked to definition. And then the concept theory assume knowing a word equal knowing its definition. Of course, right? Definition allow logical inference. Lexicography is practical, and dictionary making. Semantic is theoretical study of how meaning works. And the last one, dictionary definition do not always fully explain meaning. The unit of meaning, what is the smallest unit that carries meanings? Is it the word or the morpheme or a sounds or even a phrases? This section discuss meaning at the word level, below the word level, above the word level, and then in context. The section, one more again, the section discuss meaning at the word level, below the word level, above the word level, and in context, right? Goes to this one, words and morphemes. In Bloomfield definition of words, saw that word as a minimum free form, or morpheme is the smallest unit of a language that carries meaning. To have a word is the smallest unit that can stand alone. We have two. A word is smallest unit can stand alone. Is the name is free morpheme. Can stand alone. For example, cat, run, beautiful, pretty, and so on. This can appear independently. However, this definition has a problem. Consider, for example, the, of, my, and. These are clearly words, but they are usually cannot stand alone in normal speech. You cannot normally say they, the, of, my, And no, so mm, a Bloomfield definition is an sufficient, but um, morphemes, the minimal meaning bearing units, a morpheme defined as the smallest unit that of language that carries meaning. Example, unhappy. Un is negotiation, happy is rude, and nas state or condition. Each part has meaning. Another example, cats. Cats like cat, animal, as plural. The suffix s has meaning plurality even though it cannot stand alone. So, word may contain several morphemes. Morphemes always carry meaning, but they may not be independent. Even grammatically, morphemes have meaning through abstract example work, ed, past tense, for example, taller. Is comparative. These do not describe object, but they express grammatical meanings. For example, we have a bound morpheme can stand alone and free morpheme can stand alone. Happy is free morpheme. Unhappiness is word have a bound morpheme and free morpheme. And unhappiness and is bound morpheme. Happy from happy in unhappiness is root is a free morpheme can stand alone and ness is bound morpheme. You know that bound morpheme cannot stand alone. Just with ness there is no meaning. You know that unhappiness is a word have a bound morpheme and free morpheme. Bound morpheme un this one, and happy is free morpheme, and nest is bound morphemes. In cats is a word cat free morpheme as bound morpheme, and happy, you know, happy is a free morpheme. Okay, can see this one. Morpheme have a free and bound morpheme. Free have a lexical teach book functional at the end, but and in bound morpheme we have derivational re on like full inflectional as in ed type or in this morpheme we have pre-morpheme, have a base, ada compound word function, and then prefix, suffix, and roots. That is a band morpheme. Okay. Okay. The next is about sound symbolism. Meaning below the morpheme sound symbolism, normally linguistics assume the relationship between sounds and meaning is arbitrary. Example, for example, there is nothing dog-like about the sounds dog. However, sound symbols challenges this idea. Sound symbolism, also called ideophony or onomatopoeia, refers to systematic relationship between sounds and meaning. Onomatopoeia, imitative word. This imitate real sound. Click. For example, we can click a mouse like click and bang, boost, or sounds of cats meow and splash and true. For example, here the words sound resemble its actual sounds. Sound pattern and meaning clusters. Some sounds appear frequently in similar semantic fields. For example, in English, CL word often related to impact or nose. For example, class, clap, For example, clatter, clang. This is not coincidence. The sound cluster CL tends to appear in words about collisions or sharp sound. Okay, you can see that sound symbol, for example, meow, buzz, boom, and crash, bang. For example, sounds word and English, cling, and so on, in a sounds of symbolism. Okay, it goes to some meaning above the word levels. It's idioms. Now we move to meaning above the word levels. Some meanings cannot be understood by analyzing individual word. These are called idiom. An idiom is a non-compositional phrase. Non-compositional means the meaning of the whole does not equal the sums of its part. Example, true, true in the towel. Literal meaning, true, and towel. Idiomatic meaning, to give up. The meanings cannot be derived from the literal meaning because it's different. Okay. For the second example, for example, is about for example, scoop the pool, for example. Idiomatic meaning, win everything. If interpreted literally, scoop is equal with pick up, pool equal collection. But metaphorically, scoop gather quickly, pool entire collection. This shows that some idioms may have metaphorical logic even if not obvious. Idioms versus compositional phrases. Compositional phrases, for example, climb a tree, meaning equal climb plus tree. It's just compositional phrase, meaning climb a tree. And the idioms, kick the bucket, for example, meaning equal kick plus bucket. No, meaning must be stored as a whole in the mental lexicon. Kick the bucket, like that. Okay, is an error. Pause. Okay, we continue this lesson. It's idiom, the true in the tool, to quit or to give up, to defeat. The original of these idioms come from boxing. Even though learning English may be difficult at times, never true in the tool. Okay, students, next. Okay. The last one is contextual modulation of meaning. Meaning also depends heavily on context. The same word can have different meanings in different situations. Example is bank. For example, is bank. Bank. I want to the bank, financial institution, or he sat on the river bank side of a river. Context determines meaning. For example, the second example is about the cold. She has a cold illness. It's cold today. Temperature. He gave me a cold look, unfriendly attitude. Meaning change based on context. Collocation refers to words that frequently occur together naturally. For example, strong tea, not powerful tea. Why? Is different use. You know that heavy rain, not strong rain, but heavy rains. Make a decision, but not do a decision, but make a decision. This combination sounds natural, is a collocation. Collocation are compositional. You understand each word, but they follow conventional pattern. Um, different between what is it? Different between idioms and collocation. Idioms meaning can predictable, but idioms meaning can predictable is idioms, but collocation can predictable. In idioms, literal meanings not valid, but in collocation valid. Literal meaning valid in collocation. For example, idioms kick the bucket and the collocation heavy rain. In idioms, new meaning form, yes, of course, but in collocation, there is no new meaning form because is combination sounds natural. Collocation is a conventional patterns. Example comparison idioms. For example, idioms, they was their hand of the matters. Meaning, the meaning is they refuse responsibility, not about washing hand, but in collocation, when you say in the sentence climb a tree, meaning is literal and predictable. Climb a tree, for example, is a contextual modulation of meanings. Okay, is common collocation. Got, do, make, get permission, get picture, do you, hey, do you do some work, make a point, make sense. It's a common collocation. Okay. Um, in this summary, meanings can exist at the morpheme level as an, as, ed, at the sounds level, splash, clank. You know that at the word level, a horse, for example, bank. Above the word levels is idioms. In context, you can see that. For examples, when we say cold, she has cold illness. It's cold today, temperature. He gave me a good look and friendly attitude, for example, meaning change based on context. So in context and the collocation, in collocation, heavy rain, strong coffee, heavy rain is not strong rain, or and not heavy coffee but strong coffee is a collocation, because this collocation combination sounds natural, so meaning is not limited to a single linguistic unit. And next we start to different ways of defining meanings. No singles method can fully capture meanings. Okay. Different ways of meanings have five: a real and nominal definition, definition by extension, definition by synonym, definition by context, typical or exemplar, definition of genus and differentia. First, we start in real and nominal definition. A real definition attempts to describe the essence or inherent nature of a things in the real world. It's answer the question: what is these things in reality? Example: salt or sodium chloride and HCl. The given salt scientifically by identifying its chemical composition. It explains what salt really is. Another example, water, H2O, gold, a chemical element with atomic number 79, for example. This definition describes the object through physical or scientific nature. Important point in this real and nominal definition. A real definition is concerned with the nature of the object itself, not with the word. It's a real definition. So, I said that a real definition is concerned with the nature of the object itself, not with the word. And the nominal definition is explain the meaning of a word, not the nature of the object. It answered the question, what does this mean? For example, salt equal a wild crystalline substance used to flavors and preference food. This is not explaining chemical composition, but how the word salt is used in language. And another example, for example, is what is it? A bachelor equal an unmarried adult male. This is about the meaning of the word, not about biological or social essence. So, is the difference real nominal and real definition and nominal definition? Real definition explain the things, but in nominal definition explain the word. Real definition, scientific or essential. In nominal definition, linguistic or conventional. Real definition, we say salt equal NaCl. Nominal definition, salt equal white seasoning. In semantic, we are usually concerned with nominal definition because semantic studies word meaning. So we use nominal definition in semantic studies word mean because semantic studies word meanings. And the next is definition by ostension. Ostensive definition means defining by pointing. For example, if a child asks, "What is a cat?" you point to cat and say, "This is a cat." You point the real cat and say, "This is a cat." This method is common language learning, but problem with ostensions, it works mainly concrete noun. It does not work well from verb, for example, run, think, adjective, for example, happy, black, preposition, under, long, for example. If you point to a black cat running, what are you pointing at? The cat. Now, the color black, the action running, the wall, the concept of long, for example. The learner may not know which video is being defined. So, ostension is limited and often ambiguous. Okay. Next, definition by synonymy. This method defines a word by giving another word with the same or similar meaning. For example, angry equal big equal large, begin equal start. This is common in dictionary. Problem in synonymy. True synonyms are rare. For example, angry versus furious. Are they identical? Not exactly. Furious is usually stronger than angry. Another example, house versus home. They are similar, but house equal physical building, but home emotional meaning. So synonymy often differ slightly in intensity, formality, emotional tone, and usage context. Therefore, synonymy can fully define meaning. Okay. Um, you know that the in synonymy we have what is it? Definitum and definite meanings. Definendum equal the word being defined and definens the equal the defining expression. For example, bachelor equal unmarried adult man. Bachelor equal or bachelor is definendum, unmarried adult man is definite. The problem, the definitions may also need further definition. Okay, goes to definition by content typical exemplar. This method define word by placing it in a familiar situation. For example, scratch. Scratch the things you do when you are itchy. Instead of giving a strict definition, we give a typical situation. Um, Another example, whisper, the way you speak when you don't want other to hear. This help learners understand the concept through context. Why this work? Meaning often depend on situation, typical event, common experience. For example, teacher equals someone who works at school and helps students learn. Displays the word inside a broader social context. But we have what is it? Limitation. We have limitation. These methods depend on shared background knowledge. If someone does not know what each means, the definition of script will not help. You know? And the last one is definition by genus and differentiate. These methods come from Aristotle. It defines something by naming its broader categories, genus, and stating the feature that distinguishes it differentiate. Classic example, man is a classic example. Man equal rational animal. Genus is an animal. Differentia with uh, um, differentia with animals. All animals is rational because differentia man, the differentia is rational. If there is no man have a rational, so she just animals. Okay. Okay, back to the example. Man equal rational animal, genus animals, differentia rational. They distinguish human from others animals. Is differences between man with others animals is rational. For example, uh, others example, for example, Bahlur equal an unmarried adult male. Genus adult male. But differentia unmarried. Okay, is adult man. Married is not bachelor, right? You got it? Okay. Why? Genus and differentia definition is powerful. It provides clear classification, show a hierarchical structure, make logical inference possible. For example, if a square is a rectangle and rectangle are quadrilaters, then a square is a quadrilateral. This logical structure supports semantic reasonings. Is a example, another example. But genus and differentia have a weakness. Many everyday words do not fit easily into strict genus differentia structure. For example, GAM, as discussed by Wittgenstein, it is difficult to find one single feature that all games share. So, genus and differentia definition work well from scientific terms, technical categories, but less well for abstract word, social categories, and emotional concept. Overall, comparison, different ways of defining meaning. You can see the method, strength, and weakness. Real definition is scientifically precise, and the weakness not about word meaning. And nominal definition explain linguistic meaning, may miss a sense is the weakness. And ostension good for concrete nouns, but the weakness is ambiguous. Synonymy simple and practice. The weakness rare exact. Context or example intuitive, but the weaknesses depend on shared knowledge. Genus and differentia have logical and systematic, but the weakness not always applicable. Applicable, okay, not always applicable. And for final insight, the final insight, the no single method can fully capture meanings. The conceptual, contextual, social, sometimes scientific, sometimes experiential. That is why semantic studies multiple approach to defining meaning. All right, students, today we have learned about meaning and definition as the basic foundation for student semantic. Remember that meaning is not only about dictionary definition, but also about how language is understood, interpreted, and used in context. I hope this session help you build a stronger understanding of language, meaning that you can apply in your future teaching practice. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next session. Happy learning.